Okay. Um, so I want to talk about this week's Tavern Brawl a little bit. It's called Blood Magic, and the interesting twist is that all your spells cost. All your spells cost health instead of mana. So, like the last Tavern Brawl, it creates interesting resource management issues, which you may see a little bit of in these games that I play. So, the Paladin class here that I'm playing is pretty popular because they have the potential to do a first turn kill before you even get a chance to respond, which rarely happens in Hearthstone. Like that's generally considered a pretty bad experience. If you queue up to play, you enter the game, and you don't even get to play, and then your opponent kills you. Yeah, but I don't think it's a problem in a Tavern Brawl because these are just fun game modes, and I don't think it ruins the depth of the strategy involved. Um, so with my deck, as you can see, I have a lot of spells, which makes sense because you can cast. You use your health as a resource to cast spells, so you can cast a lot of spells. You just have to be careful about when you do it and be able to heal up or have another response. Um, yeah, so actually, one of the first decks I tried was just a hunter face aggro, and I'm like, well, if I'm just playing a bunch of minions, I'll be able to overwhelm, and it did all right. But then I started encountering people who just had like ridiculous control or just ridiculous combos, and like I need to come up with something else. And so I sort of settled on this druid deck, and I played a bunch of games with it. That's what I find myself doing. Like, I'll try a few things, and then I'll try something I like, and then I play a bunch of games with that one deck. So that's what I did here. Actually, all the games in this video I ended up winning. Like, there was one game in between where I like didn't uh, turn it into a video um, because I thought it wasn't interesting. Like, I just deleted the capture after I recorded it. But I wanted to show an example of a loss as well, so you can see like not just the good but the bad, so you get a balanced idea. But yeah, other than that, like I think I had a 5 game win streak, and so. But what's interesting about this is I have certain combos in my deck, and I almost never just straight up get the combos that it's designed for. Well, I guess I do Savage Roar, get a Savage Roar kill sometimes, but I never get the Malagos Dream, the Barnes Malagos Dream, which would be amazing. Um, yeah, so you always want to take Malagos out of your open hand so you can have a chance at Barnes. But in this deck, it's sort of interesting because I only have 4 minions. I have Barnes, Fandral, Malagos, and Haunted Creeper. So Fandral, Malagos, and Haunted Creeper are all good Barnes draws. Like, especially like Haunted Creeper's nice because it has Death Rattle, so it's sticky. Your stuff stays on board, and then I have a couple spells like buff my minions or Savage Roar, so that's nice. Then you get Fandral that makes a lot of your other spells more potent, like what's it called? The one where you draw 3 cards or gain 2 mana crystals. That spell is a lot more potent if you have Fandral. And then Wrath. Yeah, and then Armor Up. uh, gain 4 attack. That spell as well. Anyway, so here I get a savage roar kill. So that worked out with the combo as I had planned, but most of these wins, like, they don't come exactly the way I planned. It's just, yeah, and that is sort of a sign it's a good Tavern Brawl, because this is the last day of the Tavern Brawl, and I'm not just facing the same deck over and over, so it's gonna have an interesting meta. I mean, maybe if we played it long enough, it would turn out not to be that interesting. That, like, as people figure out the meta, that often happens. Like, only certain decks are viable, and obviously in Tavern Brawl you don't have ranks, so you don't know how good you are compared to other people. So those are just some issues.
It's right here. It's right here. You see this open door?
But yeah, I thought this was really fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch go get Nikolai now.
Let's see, what is this mage trying to do here? Like, I definitely had card advantage here. Though I'm still a long way off from being able to use Malagos. And I have naturalized because it's a cheap clear, but it's not the ideal thing because it gives them cards. So this deck probably isn't optimal.
No, it's Tyler. Tyler needs it. It's because I gave Nikolai the battery.
There comes Malagos. And I just use him to clear the minion. And then I think he GG's here. Yeah, he didn't have enough cards to really deal with the threat.
Whichever one has the flame on it, choose the bottom. Choose the bottom. Oh, you got it already?
Okay, the infamous Paladin.
I wouldn't mind a new one.
It's interesting. The cards I keep in my opening hand will change a lot depending on the circumstances, like depending on who I'm playing, depending on what other cards I have in my hand, what strategy I may want to take. So it's not like there's cards that I would keep sometimes, but not others. The restore 6 health, summon a 6 cost minion. In this, it's basically a free 6 cost minion, so that's the one card I think I'd always keep in my hand, and also any draw.
Also behind you.
But other than that, it depends on the situation. Haunted Creeper, probably. Malagos, I'm always gonna mill. Just so that you can get the Barnes Malagos stream. Unfortunately, never happened for me. I could probably use more consistency in this deck. There's a few more spells that can buff up minions. I could go for like just one type of kill instead of like splitting my strategy between Malagos and minions. But I think there's certain benefits of giving yourself options. And here I just get Savage Roar.
Let's go. Tyler, come stand with us.
I don't even know if I had lethal. I just figured I was close.
Oh wow, you're so poor. Yeah. We're all in it. Scoot over.
Big surprise, another Paladin.
Yeah.
I did get lucky in this win streak, for sure. Like I said, there was one game that I didn't include, but the rest of these were played sequentially. Pretty sure. Oh, this was amazingly lucky Gallowix, and so it created a really interesting game because I ended up getting like all his spells, and I almost didn't have time to execute the kill.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Divine Favor, that's the really annoying card that makes Paladin
I'll get the max ammo.
tough to deal with because they can just keep going. And Paladin is a class that tends to have a lot of heals,
Shoot Nikolai, shoot him, shoot him.
so
Just kidding, don't shoot him.
he ends up clearing Gallowix, which is pretty lucky for him there.
Let's save the dragon.
And then I have to move fast.
Dragon.
I don't have lethal in my hand right now, but I figure I'm pretty close. Or maybe I did have lethal. Anyway, I barely pulled it off in time on that game.
Get ready, he's shooting. That's it, first one.
Shaman. Shaman has some good damage spells. I haven't seen a lot of them. They have some draw. Yeah.
See, this is like a read.
I've seen.
Woo.
Yeah. I've seen Pirate Shaman and Jade. And just like Burst.
Alright,
Shaman decks.
Nikolai shot him. His right breast. I got it.
He got the lucky roll. Spell damage. Now, good thing he didn't have a ton of burst there, because otherwise that could have been scary. I go for draw. Get an innervate. I totally misplayed here.
Shootable.
Like, I had already hero powered before I saw the card. Like, I played the cards.
Is that it?
I played things in the right sequence, but I didn't wait to see what the result would be, so I wasn't able to use Barnes or Fandral like I probably should have. Probably Barnes.
That's it.
Now I drop Barnes here, get a Haunted Creeper. I was disappointed. I wanted the Malagos Dream.
Yeah. See those front two yellow spots? And then his left shoulder and his right shoulder pop up yellow spots.
I could have. I had Innervate. I could have played Fandral.
Yeah, his core will expose
and
like where his nuts at.
done more damage. Oh well. That was fortunate for him. And he rolls the spell damage totem again. Pretty lucky. But yeah, another thing that's sort of fun about Tavern Brawl is you aren't just facing. It's not like everybody has the perfect deck and exact strategy. So you have to think through problems instead of just you learn to play one type of script. Like, oh, in this deck I hit face, or even like a more complicated deck like Freeze Mage. You learn a particular script, I'd say. So you learn, okay, I have to play this certain way. Sometimes you have to judge, okay, now depending on the matchup, you won't have a good chance of winning in the usual way, so you go for a different win condition. But it's just the same script over and over. Whereas in Tavern Brawl, you have to figure out things as you go. So there's no like established meta, so you're like figuring out the meta. And I'm sure like for old Tavern Brawls you can look up decks, but even when they repeat Tavern Brawls, like there's new cards. So the Tavern Brawl, even though it's the same gimmick or same trick, it's a completely different game. And it'll have a different meta and everything. So repeating, that's one genius thing that Blizzard did. They can like, as long as they don't repeat the same Tavern Brawl too often, like it's a completely new experience, even though it's the same Tavern Brawl, which is really fun. Like Tavern Brawls have been amazing. Okay.